Now then, people, and welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show. It is Wednesday, the 14th of July. We are less than 2 weeks away from our first pre-season friendly. So yeah, it's almost time for the new season. And today, guys, we have got a massive episode for you. It's jam-packed with loads of news. If you're thinking what's going on with the nails, I do a bit of volunteering at this youth project with adults with disabilities, and they sort me out some nails. So it's a new look until I buy some nail varnish remover. But yeah, look, before we get into today's video, guys, we're probably less than 50 people or 5K now. And as promised, I will stop mentioning it. I'll stop mentioning it until we get close to 10K. I've seen comments going saying, please just subscribe to Shut Joe Up now. So do me a solid and let's get to 5K. It's absolutely amazing growth. But yeah, smash a like, share, comment, and of course subscribe. And let's get into today's video. And this is the moment when I take a stand. So guys, we're going to start first of all with the goalkeeper position. As you all know, and as I announced last week, Kiko Casilla left this week to Elche on a season-long loan. He'll have a year left. It looks like they might take him permanent after that initial year-long loan, and I don't think he'll play for Leeds United again. But Victor Orta has been speaking to a number of goalkeepers and their representatives yesterday as Leeds United look to replace Kiko Casilla with a younger version. He wants a keeper under the age of 25, no less, guys, a very young keeper. We did have a letter from Kiko Casilla as well, by the way, which I'm going to share with you now. He said, it's not easy for me to take this difficult decision for this season. This club and supporters made me feel something different, just amazing. We had hard moments, and at the same time we had unforgettable moments too. But we are always together. Feeling the support from our people, this makes us different. We never surrendered, and it was a dream for me to promote to Premier League with Leeds United. Club is now where it is. It's just a beginning. I can swear to everybody, when I defended our shirt 100% times, I did it with respect in big, bold letters. I wonder if that's a little bit of a message there. I'm proud to be part of this club. See you soon again. And of course, our support from Spain every match. We will have a brilliant season for sure, more than ever, marching on together. A lot of that will fall on deaf ears. I understand it. But he has come out and he's thanked the support. I mean, the best thing to come from Kiko was that chant. I really enjoyed that chant. I'm not going to lie, but obviously we know what happened with Kiko Casilla. I think it's quite telling that he's put like the words respect in there. I don't think that's going to go down well. I'm not sure. But look, Kiko Casilla has said his fond farewells, and that's fair to him. And that's it. Kiko Casilla probably won't pull on the shirt of Leeds United again, and a lot of people will be happy with that. But let's move on to obviously prospective players coming in replace of Kiko Casilla. So Graham Smith did a great article yesterday, and he said that Orta was focused on a pair of youngsters initially, a pair of young targets, one domestic and one operating abroad. Orta is today, which was yesterday, speaking with the latter player and his representatives, not representatives. The YEP understands the stopper in question, Orta's top target for the vacancy, was identified at the same time as Meslier by the club's European recruitment chief, Gabby Ruiz, and has since gone on to play more first-team football. Now, we know who that specific player is, and I'm going to give you, because what Graham Smith did a little bit later on, he's actually outlined the three players that Leeds United are going for. You've seen them on the thumbnail. We'll go through them in a little bit more detail, but it's quite telling in there whether he's saying the one that he's after is the one that they outlined when they initially got Meslier. You know, it might cause problems, though, because he's playing first-team football. But let's get into it. So Graham Smith said, Leeds hope to complete the deal before their pre-season fixtures begin. But in the meantime, Meslier is training at Thorp with 18-year-old prospect Danny van der Heuvel and Elliot Capriel, who turns 20 next month. They're the young keepers we have. He went on to say the director of football's search for a replacement was narrowed down to 3 candidates. So remember, he said he was speaking to a pair of young targets. There is now 3 in the frame, all of whom have senior league experience, namely Danny Cardenas, Christopher Klassen, and Freddie Woodman. They're the 3 targets mentioned. Cardenas is 24. He plays for Levante in La Liga, and last season made 8 top-flight appearances and played 5 times en route to the Copa del Rey semi-final. So, again, first-team experience in La Liga. Not a lot, but it's still there. Klassen I think he's from Norway, actually. So my friend Mikael Chuk can maybe tell us a little bit more about him in the comments. But he is the player that Leeds first made inquiries about in 2019. So this, for me, is the top target. This is the one that we were looking at when we went for Meslier. It was a toss-up between these two. He has, however, racked up 54 top-flight appearances for outfit Vålerenga, who sit third after 13 games of their 2021 campaign. So their campaign is currently ongoing. I think their season, due to weather, maybe goes from like November to such and such, and because of COVID, they're still in their season. So the thing that strikes me with Christopher Classen is he's playing first team football. He's played 54 games. Their director of football actually said that Victor and Leeds United did definitely inquire about him when we were after Ilya Meslier, which excites me as well, because I'm like, yo, this kid was also up there with Ilya Meslier. This kid's going to be good, right? But it's the fact that is he willing to turn down current season playing first team football to come to Leeds United to play second fiddle? That's the thing you've got to ask yourself. That's why, for me, I'm thinking Cardenas. He's already second fiddle at La Liga. If he wants to move, maybe it'd make more sense. Will Classen want to move when he's playing first team football? Not sure. And the last one in the fray, guys, is Newcastle's Freddie Woodman, 24-year-old. He actually spent last season on loan at Swansea as their number one, and obviously reached the Championship playoff final for Swansea. So again, he's another that's got regular first team experience. I know he was at Newcastle, I think, 2017, maybe after that, I'm not sure. Has been loaned out a lot of clubs, but he was a Championship number one goalkeeper last season who went to the playoff final. So again, that for me throws up issues, because is Freddie Woodman going to want to come and play second fiddle to Ilya Meslier? These are the things. This is what Victor Orta has got to do to convince. It's clear that the number one target is Classen, who's Norwegian, but the thing is there is he's playing first team football. So will he want to come to Leeds United to play second fiddle? I don't know. So for me, the one that makes probably more sense is Cardenas, the 24-year-old who plays at Levante. He's already second fiddle. He's only played eight times last season and 5 times in the cup, and getting to the semi-final no less. So maybe he'd be willing to come to Leeds United more than the other two. But look, we'll have to wait and see. I did see as well, and I've mentioned this many times on this show, guys, and I know a lot of you probably don't like to hear it, don't want to believe it to be true, but it is, like, in my opinion. And Tom from Focus on Leeds, you'll know Focus on Leeds on Twitter, said, it makes sense to bring in a young keeper. Meslier in the next 2 years will likely move on to a Champions League club for massive money. No point bringing in an experienced keeper to then be just left with him 1 or 2 years older. So it makes sense Leeds United are going after a keeper of young age, because there will come a time when Ilya Meslier will move on. He is that good. Whether or not it'll be in the next 1 or 2 seasons, we'll have to see where Leeds United are at. You know, the 3 that I've mentioned over and over and over will be Ilya Meslier, Rafinha, and Kalvin Phillips. Of course I want Kalvin to stay. And I know this throws up and everyone goes, no, he's Leeds, I get it. But if we're not playing Champions League football on the regular, he's just played in a European Championship final and arguably was in the top 3 players for England. If he's not playing Champions League football in the next few seasons, he's going to want to, you know, and there will be big money on the table for him and for the club, you know. Same goes with Rafinha and, of course, Ilya Meslier. Paris Saint-Germain have already inquired about Ilya Meslier. Do you know what I mean? So in a couple of seasons, he'll be ready to go. So the perfect scenario would be Christopher Classen, clearly, because Leeds inquired about him when they initially went for Meslier. So they were obviously interested in him back then. And if he's up there on a par with Meslier, then that's a fantastic signing. Honestly, it remains to be seen what's going to happen in this department. I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments, who the keeper is you would prefer us to go to and which makes more sense to you guys. One keeper that has been announced, that I said to you for a couple of days now that it will be announced, I believe it had already been done. It is, of course, Daryl Ombang from Bradford City. He's actually Beeston born, England's future number one. He has confirmed he's signing to Leeds United. He's 16-year-old, as I say. He's joined on a 2-year scholarship and will link up with the under-18. So that is a confirmed signing and really one for me to watch out for the future. Plenty of goalkeepers in today's episode, isn't there, guys? On the article as well, Graham Smith went on to mention the centre midfielder. He said, Orta is continuing to work on a deal for a midfielder, having narrowed his search and made one player in particular his priority, although nothing is imminent just yet. So the midfielder is in his sights. It's signs, he's got the one that he wants, but it's not imminent. There's work to be done there. One that it could be is Okay Yokuslu. Now, Leeds United's Victor Orta was actually speaking on a podcast on a Spanish radio station, and he spoke glowingly about Okay Yokuslu. He said specifically it is politically difficult for Leeds to sign Yokuslu. For me, he had about 6 very good months in a very difficult place, and I really, really liked him. So could Okay Yokuslu be the one? I'm not sure. I put it out on Twitter, and a lot of people rubbishly claim. But let's not forget, I spoke to you a couple of weeks back where apparently Victor Orta had sent scouts to Turkey versus Wales, I think, to get a look at Okay Yokuslu. And then I think it was Tudan as well. I forget the guy's name, but he was apparently looking at 2 players. He's been speaking glowingly about Yokuslu. Could he be the one? Probably not, but it's worth discussing because he's mentioning him, obviously, speaking on a Spanish podcast. He plays for Celta Vigo. He was in loan in the Premier League. There's links there. Could it be the one? It remains to be seen. We will have to wait and see on that. One thing that Graham Smith did go on to say in the article as well, he says, there still remains a possibility of a winger being added to the squad this summer as well. Now, the key thing for that in me is a possibility. I thought it was nailed on. I thought the winger was nailed on, just like the left back and the centre midfielder. But from what I gleaned from Graham's article there is it's a possibility. It's not a given. Now, I know transfers in general are never a given, but Leeds United this season, it was left back, centre midfielder, winger. And I know I see a lot of comments all the time. People say, we don't need a winger, we don't need a winger, we don't need a winger. We need a right-footed winger. All our wingers are left-footed, every single one of them. Every single one. So I think that's the main thing. I think probably from Bielsa and stuff, and I know it might seem simplistic, but we need a right-footed winger because I see a lot. I read all your comments genuinely, guys. I can't reply to them all. I'm very busy at times, and I do try to reply to as many as I can. But I see it all the time. We don't need a winger. We don't need a winger. We need a right-footed winger. Maybe that's why they don't see it as a priority, and maybe it's just a possibility. Because if they can't get one done for decent money, then they're okay with the winger options there. Maybe they'll go again in January. But I just read that and I was like, possibility? Really? I thought it was nailed on, much like the left back, much like the centre midfielder. But I suppose it depends how long the centre midfielder rumbles on for. And the winger, Noah Lang seems to be difficult. I know Fabrizio Romano has said Leeds are in negotiations. They're finding it hard. Matthias Cunha, Hertha Berlin were hard to negotiate with. His agent came out and said he's not a priority for Leeds, so we're going to move on. We'll look next summer because he's got the Olympics coming up as well. Dan James is a non-mover for me. Mikkel Damsgaard's 2 up there. He'll go to a Champions League club for me. Of course, I would love Damsgaard, but he'd be the one if I could pick. That'd just be my personal opinion. But we'll have to wait and see. It remains a possibility, which for me makes me go, oh, really? As for players leaving, guys, he did go on to say, when it comes to players leaving the club, Jordan Stevens has attracted interest from a number of clubs and appears likely to depart. And it will be permanently, apparently, as well. And listen, the bits that I've seen of Jordan Stevens, I was never a big fan. I don't want to say that he won't go on to have a great career, but I remember travelling to Stoke away in that first season under Bielsa, and it's been shocking. And our bench options were Jordan Stevens. Like, it's mad how far we've come, and I think even this season our bench will be so much stronger than we're used to. Even last season, it was a tough bench if you compare it to the rest of the Premier League. But in that first season under Bielsa, it was really poor. Like, in terms of game changers, Jordan Stevens got brought on a few times, and it was like, I don't know what he offers, and I don't want to be too harsh. It's just my opinion, but apparently he's going to be leaving permanently this summer. Apparently Blackpool have joined the list of clubs monitoring Niall Huggins, so he could be on his way out and maybe joining up with Ollie Casey, who left for Blackpool this window. However, a decision has not been made yet on Robbie Gotts. He spent last season out on loan with Lincoln City and Salford City. I know he had a great time at Salford City, so we'll have to wait and see on Robbie Gotts. We know that Alfie McCalmont, confirmed a loan. I just can't see them breaking through. I want them to, but I just can't. But that's a lot of transfer news for you there, guys. Thank you for sitting patiently there while I went through that. We're now just going to go through some other things. So I don't know if any of you see this, but a guy called Jack Tabner actually wrote a letter to Kalvin Phillips after the Euros. I'm going to share it on the screen with you now, guys. Now, admittedly, that's really tiny, but I'm going to read it through for you anyway. It's a lovely letter. He says, "Dear Kalvin, I wanted to write to you to express how proud I am of you. You don't know me, but I am one of thousands upon thousands of Leeds United fans who have enjoyed this England team and this tournament, largely because of you. We always knew you were as good as your performances have been. We watch you do it every week for Leeds. But it's been a pleasure having so many quiet I told you so moments. Your assist versus Croatia, your thumping challenge on Havertz, and sending Cruz into retirement. Seeing you subbed against Ukraine because the nation had woken up just to how important you are to our team and couldn't risk your suspension. Your running stats and pressing numbers after every game. That touch against Denmark, your relentless harrying of Verratti, Jorginho and Insigne in the final, and constantly demanding the ball. You were just playing your normal game. Now with the whole of Europe watching one of the finest midfielders of a generation. Perhaps the most gratifying thing of all hasn't been your footballing performances, but the way you've conducted yourself, probably without any concerted effort. You have been a paragon of virtue, humility, kindness, and social conscience. And your cheeky grin, your bromance with Ben White, and your loving relationship with your family have given us a warmth that we've all needed as a nation. It comes as no surprise to me that you were the first to scoop up Saka when the last penalty was missed. What a man you have become. What's more is the significance of what you represent for so many unrepresented people. You have been a beacon of light for working class people, black people, for Whartley, for the city of Leeds, and for proud, understated Yorkshire folk. There will be a spike in the number of Kalvins starting school in a few years, and they will all be pretending to be you with that when they play in the park. I am an adult man writing a letter, when I should be working, to another adult man who grew up a few miles away from me. And yet the pride I've felt watching you these last few weeks has been the closest thing I've come to feeling like a father. While this is all getting a bit ridiculous, I know many blokes who have watched you these last few years at Leeds will also be feeling this way today. If you've made it this far reading my letter, I only have 3 asks of you. Get yourself back to Leeds, enjoy the outpouring of love that is inevitably coming your way, and get ready to lead us into another brilliant season. Don't you ever stick your hand up to take a penalty for England in a championship final ever again. You nearly gave us all a heart attack when we saw you volunteering in the huddle. In the words of a bursting with pride Granny Val, don't let any of this go to your head and keep your feet on the ground. We may have woken up having lost the final, but Leeds fans all woke up feeling like winners because of you. Thank you, Kalvin. You make us all so proud to be Leeds. Marching on together, Jack. That is amazing, right? Like, what a wordsmith. What a letter. Amazing. Jack, like, I doubt you'll ever watch this, but Jack Tabner, that is absolutely amazing. And thank you for encapsulating everything that we were feeling, that sense of pride that we had over Kalvin Phillips. Make sure you follow Jack on Twitter as well, guys. I will put his link to his Twitter in the description. But yeah, amazing. And like I said right at the start of the show, guys, it's actually less than 2 weeks now till pre-season. Tuesday, July the 27th, we have our first pre-season friendly, Guiseley versus Leeds United, which will kick off at 7:30 p.m. If it's available, I will do a watch along so we can have a chat about that. So keep your eyes peeled. One thing that came out as well, another thing coming out from the Euros really, is that the Premier League clubs have appealed to league officials to lighten the use of VAR after seeing a successful Euros tournament for the system, which it was. I thought the refereeing was absolutely exceptional throughout the tournament. Yes, there was a few shaky moments, some of them coming from English referees, but I thought the use of VAR was absolutely fantastic. And at times you didn't even know it was going on. Just some unrelated Leeds news, but it is recent Leeds news. Alioski, guys, apparently is struggling to find a club. Trabzonspor have apparently pulled out of the race to sign Alioski. Obviously, he left the club at the end of his contract and he's on the lookout for a new home after 4 years at Elland Road. And it is suggested that Alioski was looking for $2 million a year. But according to Turkish news source, they say despite increasing their proposal to meet his demands, Trabzonspor have been unable to agree a deal. So Alioski at the minute has no clubs. He needs to get his skates on or come back to Leeds with his tail between his legs. I don't know. And just to finish as well, guys, this is absolutely insane, by the way. The EFL are set to appoint 3 new championship representatives to the board later this week. Peter Risdale is one of them that has been selected to join the EFL board, which is a madness. That blows my bloody mind. Like, let's not forget they employed Sean Harvey for a period of time, didn't they? But yeah, Peter Risdale, of all men. It's absolute insanity, guys. But yeah, what more can you expect from the EFL? So glad that we're not in it anymore. But look, that was today's episode. There was absolutely loads in there. So thank you for being patient. If you've watched that, I really enjoyed it. I love it when there's loads of meat on the bones. But before you do go, if you're one of them 50% of people that watch this and ain't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. We are at 5K. I'm hoping we'll hit it today. We'll hit it today. And then you won't hear me say anything until we get close to 10K. So do me a solid. Like this video, comment, notification bell smashed, and of course, subscribe to the channel. And I promise you, on tomorrow's episode, when we've hit 5K, I won't say nada. I won't say nada. But yeah, listen, have a great day. Love you all. Peace out, and I'll see you in a bit. Leeds.